All right, what's up, guys? We're here doing some content for Darkside TV. It's gonna be a fire one today, guys.
Awesome.
Here with me, Mike B and Justin, practitioners of the left hand path, and today we're gonna discuss different topics from our perspective. But first,
Excellent.
how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing all
I'm
right.
really Justin. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too, man. I saw some of your other videos. I like your content, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I don't want to seem like an edge lord with the mask. I just live in a really religious, dangerous country. So,
No worries, man. No worries. How you doing today?
real good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. We got some beautiful weather outside. I think spring's finally on the way.
Right on. All
So,
right.
since we brought up seasons, what's some of you guys' knowledge on horoscopes and the planets and all that?
And you want to start, Mike?
You know what? I am not a big like astrology buff. I know the basics. Like sextiles, trines, squares. Like I understand like what those are and like how they affect a person's horoscope. Sextiles are very good. Squares are bad. You don't want those. Um, Conjunctions are beautiful if you can get those. Um, let let's tighten up that question a little bit. Like let me ask you this: in what sense are you asking about astrology?
Um, let's maybe start off with, do you guys believe in the horoscopes and that they correlate to each person? And like also going deeper into it, the horoscopes for each planet that each person has.
Hmm. Personally, I don't put much stock in the horoscopes that are like the generalized, like mass printed horoscopes.
Okay.
I think you really need more than just a sun sign. Like when you get like the rising sign and the moon sign and all those other things, it's like the difference between okay, so the sun sign is like telling somebody that you'll meet them at the mall and like trying to find somebody like that you're supposed to meet just at the mall with that description. But like once you add the rising sign and the moon sign and all that other, it's like I'll be at the mall with a red shirt and a green hat. And it helps sort of like narrow down like more about their location and their vibration, so to speak. At least that's how I look at it.
I used to.
Interesting. Elijah
Okay.
brought this up, and I want to interject something. According to astrologers, when a human being takes its first breath in after birth, its mind and spirit crystallize with the planets and the movements of the stars. There will be no one with your natal chart
Yeah.
unless they were born exactly where you were born, and it won't happen for like 3,300,000 years. That's how individual it is. Um,
Damn, that's
that's
crazy.
what you got to have the moon sign, the sun sign, the ascending. All of it matters. Like that horoscope shit you see in the newspaper, forget about it. It's garbage. But if you get a
Yeah.
real natal printed up, you can see some really interesting stuff.
Yeah. I actually keep my natal chart around. It's around here somewhere. And like sometimes I'll use it in my workings. Like I'll put a candle on it and like actually, use that as a focus for what I'm doing. But it's interesting what you say about when you take that first breath because two people can be born at the same time and one not take their first breath yet. Like might have some shit in their fucking throat that the doctor has to get out. So that's even more like personalized or whatever.
Or
You're
even
right.
just a
You're right.
different place, like he said too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I use
So
astrology to plan workings. Like if I know, for example, that the moon is full in Scorpio, um, I know that that's a great time to do love and sex magic. I know if the moon is waning in Scorpio, I know that's an excellent sign to do destructive, wicked magic too.
yeah, or
Um,
breakup. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and there's a lot you can do with Jupiter and Mercury and those signs as well. I like your idea about using your natal chart that way, though. That's actually really cool. I might have to start doing that.
Yeah, it works really well for me, and it's really good for personalized stuff, protective stuff, or like if you're trying to bring prosperity or something like that.
Mhm. So if I gave you guys a breakdown of my sun, moon, and rising, Would you be able to tell me a little bit about that?
perhaps.
So I'm a Virgo sun, Aquarius moon, and Scorpio rising.
Okay, so Virgo is Earth. You said Aquarius is air, and what was the other one? Scorpio
Scorpio.
is water.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So basically, what I've learned is like the sun sign, and this is could be totally wrong, but the sun sign is more like who you are, like
Your conscious mind. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then the moon sign is like more your subconscious, like like in the shadows, like when you're alone. And then the ascending might be where you're supposed to direct yourself toward. Like if I have a Sagittarius rising, I need to be like going out there and getting it, so to speak, as opposed to being a hermit and staying home or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, uh Virgo deals with to me it deals with not necessarily security, but like being very aware of what's going on around you. So you're probably very cognizant of your surroundings. You're aware of when someone walks in a room. You're probably like measuring them up to some degree. The Aquarius means that you're probably like very intellectual, especially like studious whenever you're alone.
Yeah.
And Scorpio ascending, that to me seems like you're heading towards the occult, towards the secretive, aspect of life. So, I mean, that sounds pretty right to me, if
I'd
I
like
didn't
to
know
ask
you.
Elijah, let me ask you this. Does this does this sound at all like any of you or your behaviors? And if you don't want to share it with us or you're not comfortable, it's okay. Would you
Um,
ever consider yourself like very sexually intense, secretive, or sometimes treacherous if the person deserves it?
yeah, all of
Okay.
those things.
Yeah, that's that Scorpio ascending. The Aquarius moon is like, in my mind, that's like a logic, altruism. Like you mean to do well by people. Like you don't have a bad spirit that wants to get over on other people. The Virgo, I see that as a give and take and material concerns. Like you'll probably be successful with money later on in life. I'd want to see where your Jupiter and Saturn were, but if that's all I had, I'd say you'd probably be okay later on.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Sounds good.
Great
Um,
topic.
Yeah, I like it.
what do you guys think about horror movies and the occult? And are there any that like have a lot of occult symbolism in them?
I think like almost every film has some sort of symbolism in it, but I think that the horror films are maybe more prone to have it. I think
Sure.
people who are more in touch with their shadow have more awareness in general. So they might have more intuition, they might have more of an understanding. That's my take on it.
There was a movie that you guys don't remember. I'm sure of it. It was John Goodman and Denzel Washington, and it was called Fallen. And it was about fallen angels and how they would jump from body to body to body with breath or touch, possessing
Yeah.
people. And they would like do virtual puppetry. Like a person would get touched and they'd turn around and they'd start talking just out the side of their neck. I have seen that shit. That's a great occult movie. And the
Hmm.
reason it was so good was because they actually employed Hasidic Jews on the cast and script writing
For Kabbalah,
because
that's awesome.
That's cool.
how many people the spirit can move in one breath because they're
Wow.
Kabbalists. Yeah, great movie, man. If you ever watch that, Fallen,
I
F
feel like
A
I've
L
seen
N.
it before. Didn't they have like, yeah, didn't it have Asmodeus or Azazel in it?
Yep, yeah, yep.
It's been
Time
so
is
long
on.
since I've seen it though.
I
No, it was
haven't seen it.
great though, man. That's how they really move too, bro. Like they can. I know a lot of magicians that won't shake hands with people because they don't want anything that's in that person jumping onto them.
Yeah.
Now that's taking it a little too far. If your defenses are strong enough, then you don't have to worry about that. But still,
Hmm. Yeah, as far as occult movies go, I think Pan's Labyrinth comes to mind. Pan's Labyrinth is a really good movie.
I haven't seen that one.
It's
Oh, great.
Guillermo del Toro. It's great.
Mhm.
Yeah, great movie.
It's
Yeah.
essentially a Gnostic tale, I think.
Okay. Have you guys
I
seen
love it. I
Ninth
thought it
Gate?
was like fantastic. The visuals. I didn't even really get like deeper than that. I just thought it was great.
Hmm. Oh, The Ninth Gate with Johnny Depp. I was like 13 the last time I saw that one. I think I had just learned about what the occult was, and I started watching all kinds of movies, but I don't think I knew enough back then to actually analyze it as whether or not it was esoteric or just like, somebody opened up a grimoire and then was like copy pasting out of it.
It was a
Right.
little bit like not necessarily focused on the occult aspect of it, but it definitely had a lot. Like there was like rituals and different
Hmm.
grimoires, and he was trying to find like missing pieces to like the biggest one or some shit. Like
Aren't we all?
yeah, it's a cool movie.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, media in general has always been saturated with esoteric principles. I always like catch like songs on the radio. Like I was at Applebee's for I was mentioning earlier that I just had the 10-year anniversary, and we were at Applebee's, and there was some song on the radio where this chick was singing about how she's the Queen of Swords. And I'm looking around and it's just going in people's ears and getting into the back of their head. They're not paying any attention. I'm
Mhm.
just like, man, that really made itself on the radio. Okay.
Yeah, what do you guys think about occult energy in music and maybe rock and rap music?
I think music is absolutely fabulous. Pythagoras was the one who actually mastered the notes of music and the chords, and he said that any effect could be produced from the proper arrangements of the different chords. Um, in my mind, you can use music to incite all kinds of different passions. Like I always listen to Eminem's "Lose Yourself" before I get into ritual for clients or on camera.
Okay.
You know, that gets me going. Or Nine Inch Nails Discipline or something. I like mood music, I don't know about anybody else, but I gotta have it.
Yeah, I love music. There's a particular artist named Nas Alchemeth, and he's a black metal artist, and he has like 5 projects, and every single one of them are solid gold. One of them is called Nightbringer. One of them is called Achilles. One of them is called Bestia Arcana. Uh, he's got like 5 projects, and every single one I listen to is just like, holy fuck. Like his lyrics are definitely coming from someone who's initiated, definitely a practitioner. And the music itself, the instrumentation is amazing. Like you listen to it, and all of a sudden, like you feel like you're in a ceremony on the way into the tunnels of Set. Like
Wow.
this is just wonderful music. If you ever get a chance, listen to Nightbringer.
Thomas
The album.
Carlson,
Go ahead.
man, too.
Who
Thomas
is?
Carlson, that name? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh huh.
and he actually like the Dragon Rouge founder. He actually was a part of the black metal band in Stockholm, Sweden, and
Yeah,
they all about clip art and shit. That's just crazy.
yeah, absolutely. I forgot he was a musician too, as well as an author. Yeah, so black metal is a wonderful. It's like a gold mine for esoteric principles.
For sure. Even Michael Ford, he has a metal
Yeah,
band.
that makes sense. I would believe that.
I think it's even
Yeah,
called like Left Hand Path or something like that.
awesome, awesome.
How generic, how wonderfully generic.
I like it.
I also I like metal. I also like rap music and sometimes like rap music that is kind of like dark and has like
Like Ghostman?
Ghostmane, yeah, he's pretty good. But also there's this rapper that I like. His name is Evil Pimp. He's pretty cool.
Hell yeah. I'll have to check that out.
He mentions
I
Lucifer
like
a
Evil
lot in his
Peter. I
music.
think he's one of the darkest rappers that I've ever seen. I loved his song Angel Dust was great.
Okay.
I've
Yeah,
never
I
done
wish he
Angel
wasn't.
Dust.
Yeah, I wish he wasn't dead. That was a great entertainer. I wanted to
Hmm.
ask you real quick. How long have you been practicing? You seem to really know your shit.
Me?
Yeah.
Let's see. I got into like learning about like Wicca and stuff when I was like 12 or 13 because
Me
I was
too.
dating a girl who was Wiccan basically, and then I would just go on to study it myself because we broke up, and then I actually started practicing when I was like 15 or 16, and I'm 32 now, so like I don't know, almost 20 years it seems like, but it gets more intense as you go. Like I would say I've really been practicing for the last 6 or 7. Like every day I wake up, ceremony,
Yeah.
it's like shower ceremony, and then I'm studying like every single
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, I'm really impressed. You seem to really know your stuff. Like that's great, man. Like I wish there were more of us like this. Like the
I do
problem is
too.
we're so outnumbered. That's the problem with the light workers, the Wiccans, and the Abrahamic faiths. And it's like
Mhm.
we need more good dudes that really put work in and learn their shit and represent the left hand path, man. That's what we need.
Yeah, absolutely. I
So
agree with that. Part of the problem is we're so individuated that it's hard to get us to agree on anything.
I have an expression that I use frequently, and that is we are stronger together in the
Yeah.
left hand path. Yes, we are so individual, and you're never going to corral us under one banner. But when we choose to cooperate with each other to build bridges of friendship, cooperation, and collaboration, we are very, very strong. Unfortunately, we choose to eat each other, it seems like, just as often as we cooperate.
Yeah, it
And
always
I don't
turns
know.
into a competition of sorts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there is a lot of that. I understand that. Um, I'm not saying we're wrong for it. I mean, because it does thin the herd, does keep us in good shape. But I just wish that we would come together and cooperate more. Are you familiar with any forums like Balb or OM?
No, not at all. I probably could use social media more than I do, and it would probably be good for me.
There's about 50 to 70 really solid occultists on the occult mirror forum. I go to this place all the time because these guys are like multidisciplinary and different paths, but they're all really solid. Like you've got Hecatean witches, you've got geomancers. I mean, and these guys are really solid performers. Like I'm impressed. Like
I'm gonna make a note
anyway,
of that. You said it's a cult mirror.
yeah, occultmirror.net. Free to register. You can lurk and just kind of check out the content, but it's actually really good stuff.
I appreciate the suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Elijah, what's next, brother?
Okay, so um, I talked to Justin a little bit about this, but let's get into maybe your opinion on it. What do you think about drugs and the occult? It could be as simple as just weed, or what do you think about
Uh,
like different ones
already
too?
covered. There's not a goddamn thing they can do to me now. Yeah, I definitely am all for drugs. Here's the idea. It's a performance enhancer. You shouldn't
Okay.
be using it as a crutch. Okay. You should be able to enter these states yourself. Okay. What the substance can do for you in a ritualized setting is make it faster and easier. Okay. And that depends on the substance. I'm not going to criticize anybody for what their choice is because who the fuck am I really?
Yeah,
But I definitely am a libertarian. I mean, what you choose to put in your body, man, is you, and what I choose to do is me, and you know, and if it helps with ritual, like I do some of my best work high as fuck.
nice.
Um, I do like that lightning just hits you, and you're fucking free, man. Like it all happens, like you get out of your own self and become that god that is moving and shaking. The spirits tremble. That's some
Yeah.
that's some
I feel
high.
like you kind of sink a little bit more into your subconscious.
Hmm.
Yeah, but you don't want to rely on it though overly too much. It's cool, but don't let it get out of control. Is what I would say.
For sure.
Yeah. Just to interject here for a second, I definitely agree with that. But I like what you're saying about it not being a crutch. I was just talking about this earlier. One of the best parts about drugs is they can show you levels of consciousness that you didn't know existed so that you can go there on your own because you know that they're there.
For sure.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, I actually created rituals to do just that. Like when I would take a strong hit of some of my dope, it's like growing wings. It's like being able to fly. It's like having so much power. And I actually created a couple of rituals like the Dark Fountain at Citra Opera, to it's kind of a left hand path middle pillar, but it taps into that infernal divinity, um, and juices you right up so you can go into your other main event ceremonies with a lot more energy and psychic force. So you're right. You're absolutely right. Now that you know it's there, you just have to find your way back without it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
What's you guys' opinion on the book 72 Angels of Magic by Damon Brand?
Haven't read it.
I didn't read it. I read the Magic of Angels and Demons by Henry Archer. That's kind of comparable. I could talk about that, but I can't talk about the other. I just haven't read it.
Yeah, I've never read anything by Damian Eccles, but I've heard a lot about him.
Is that
Yeah.
his name or is it Damon something?
Oh, I
You
thought you were
might
talking
be
about
right.
Damian
You might
Eccles.
be
My
right.
bad.
But I actually
Brand. Brand.
I was mistaken.
it could be either. I'm not really too sure. But I got into that book recently and I actually worked with it a little bit and
Hmm.
I feel like I enjoyed it a little bit.
Hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. I like working with Shem angels like on their own. Like I don't ever mix the two, like if I don't have to.
For
But there's
sure.
nothing wrong with left hand path and subduing the angels and making them your servants. You are their god. For those left hand path people that think that you're selling out because you're working with angels, who the fuck are they to tell you what spirits you can and can't work with? You know,
Yeah, for sure.
that's how I feel.
Yeah, I'm
I mean,
similar
if
on
you don't,
that matter.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I agree with that. Sorry, I'll interject again. It's like in several traditions they say that we were made in the image of the creator or the image of God. I mean, like to some extent, like they're a part of us. It's like telling me that I can't control angels is like telling me that I can't control my hand.
Right. You're absolutely right. And according to Kabbalah, we are actually born with two souls,
Mm,
one from Kedusha and one from Sitra Achra.
hmm.
Now, us, we are so predominantly Sitra Achra, night side polarized. We're probably like a 70 or 80% night side, 20% Kedusha. Um, so, like, a lot of us aren't comfortable with the celestial side of the spectrum, but why would we deny ourselves a source of power and more abilities? You know, I just can't, that doesn't make any sense to me. You know,
Yeah, me either. To be solely left hand is almost like just being a left finger. Like you have to grow yourself, and expand
right?
your capacity to some extent.
mhm.
In the left hand path, I don't think that there is anything that we cannot do. We are the sole authority of the left hand path individually. Like how I carry it is how I carry it for me. I'm the only authority that I answer to. Same with
Yeah,
you, and same with you, Justin. You
yeah,
know, so
yeah,
I
absolutely.
actually had people challenge me about that, and I was like, "Wait a minute, are you challenging me because I'm doing Tree of Life initiation after Clip Off initiation? Like seriously?" I was pretty irritated about that. I had to.
That's funny.
Um, so I've already talked to both of you guys about the clip off, but do you guys mind telling me a little bit about the Tree of Life and what's you guys' experience with that?
You can
Go
go ahead
ahead,
if you want.
Justin.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
go
go ahead.
ahead. With experience with the Tree of Life specifically.
Yeah,
So for me, I'm looking at my poster here. For me, the Sephiroth are objective, and the Navitot or the paths are subjective. Um, I think that the more you understand about the upper side of the tree, the more it can shed light on the bottom. No pun
Yes,
intended. Shed light on the bottom side.
yes, yes. Absolutely, absolutely.
what are some
For me,
examples of what each Sephiroth is about or the different paths? Y'all hear me?
Yeah, I didn't want to cut in on anybody. So, I mean, they kind of give their names. I don't know if you speak any Hebrew or not, but the names themselves can give you a little bit of guidance on what they actually are, how they manifest in the physical life. But also, like this is kind of interesting. I've recently been getting back into tarot just as a reflective tool, and if you look at the cards, like the aces are correspondent to Keter or Kether.
Yeah,
You
of
know,
course.
the fives, yeah, the fives are correspondent to Gebera, or you know, Gevura. And they can, if you look at the cards, just like on the pads, you can sort of connect with the energy really well. I think that's probably the best exercise someone can do potentially in Kabbalah to understand the Sephirot, other than know the names and the colors and correspondences, is look at the cards that are associated with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a very good suggestion.
Thank you.
For me, it was very difficult to go through Tree of Life after Klippa. I felt gravity on my way up, like pulling me back down. And I told the angels straight up, get the fuck out of my way. I'm going to Kether. I will have that time.
Hmm.
And they didn't give me too much shit, but it was really challenging to fight the gravity going up. Like I got to about, I'd say about meat sack, and I started feeling like this pull. And I
Hmm.
was only doing Sephiroth for 7 days. Like that was all I could handle. I'm doing clip off again right now, and I'm on day 7 of Sicario, and I'm doing
Hmm.
9 this time.
Hmm.
But you're
Yeah,
absolutely right. The tarot is a beautiful tool to analyze the tree of life, and once you know the tree of life, your knowledge of the tree of death becomes so much more clear.
yeah, that's been my experience. It's interesting that you say you got gravity around Nitzok because, according to tradition, the next one is Tiferet, and that's where the Holy Guardian Angel is. So it's almost like they were giving you some adversarial current to make you break through it, you know, in a way.
But do different angels correspond to each sphere too?
Yeah, yeah. So, like Metatron will correspond to Kater, and Zafkael will correspond to Binah. I think Raziel, the Angel of Mysteries, is Hokmah. Um, I think Raphael is Tifereth, and Hanael is Netzach, and on and on and on. So the Sephiroth have several levels. So there's like the divine name, like the divine name for Kater is Ehie. And then
Yeah.
there's, yeah, you back?
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
welcome back.
All the correspondences. Yeah. Archangels, colors,
Yep.
scents, divine names. All. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
I studied Kabbalah for my first 3 years, like, and I was trained as an RHP Kabbalist. That's why I know this. So when you said Hebrew, I'm like, yeah, I read and write
excellent.
Hebrew fine, and I'm pretty good with it in a magical sense, you know.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the more correspondences you have, I'll preach about correspondences all day, because the more of the tree that you build in yourself, like the more you learn about the tree, the more you're building it inside yourself.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of orders actually do that too, like Builders of the Aditum, the Rosicrucians, to some
Mhm.
extent the Freemasons.
Mhm. Yeah. I think he's definitely like parallel to what I think about that. We exist at all points on the tree, I think is what he's saying, but you just have to awaken your consciousness to the fact that you're existing at that point on the tree already. I think that might have been where he was going with that. I don't want to put words in his mouth.
Yeah. Um, so one question I was gonna ask, um, besides a lot of the stuff we're into, what culture do you think has some cool magic behind it?
So I try to find my tradition in every tradition. So like I've been looking into Hinduism, I've been looking into Buddhism, I've been looking into Islam a little bit, and to me it seems like Islam is where a lot of this stuff originated from. Like I know that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are all Abrahamic faiths or traditions, but the more I learn about Hebrew, the more I feel like Arabic was first, and I know that Hebrew preceded Christianity. So I would consider looking into either Hinduism or Islam if you want some really old, like powerful stuff.
What
I
about
love the Islamic faith when it comes to the jinn, man. I work with them a lot, and
Me too.
and Dale Cadmon's books are wonderful for that.
Okay.
Yeah, Dale Cadmon, he is absolutely fabulous for the jinn.
Yeah,
That and
I've heard
Corwin,
that name.
yeah, he's actually a buddy of mine. Like I actually started trying to meet all these famous people like Behemoth X and like Dale Cadman and shit. And like now they're all in my messenger. Like we don't talk much, but it's like, yeah, I know this dude. Great,
That's
great
cool.
material. Oh, hard rope too. That's really good gin related material. I draw on Islam all the time. You're absolutely right.
Okay, cool,
Yeah, it's
cool.
a fantastic. Yep.
Yeah. I like Hinduism a lot too. The a lot of the mantra art will just suck me in whenever I get into like a yapa or like a meditation or a repetition of the mantra. And a lot of the deity forms, like the god forms in Hinduism, like Harika and like Mahakala, like the male version of Kali, like if you look at them, like they just have this like force that comes out of them that I just fucking love, man.
I got a dude I'm going to introduce you to. He's an adept friend of mine from India. He's
Hmm.
actually studying right now to be an Agori left hand path priest.
Excellent. Yeah.
And
Agori Sadhu. Yeah.
he's active on that forum, man. I'll plug you in with the dude because he is amazingly knowledgeable and skilled. Like, he's like, there are two kinds of Agori, like one that are full time and one that are not full time. And he's going
Mhm.
for the not full time one. And he's just about finished. And that is some hardcore LHP Hinduism, bro.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Like eating mortified flesh and, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. Eating
They
sometimes like
go,
even coprophilia, you know.
they go hard, bro. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you guys think about Santa Muerte?
I don't know enough about it to speak on it really. I just know that it's probably the most common left hand path of Hispanic esotericism.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mexican
Yeah.
mostly.
Hmm.
Well, basically, the drug dealers that I know are all about Santa Muerte, and they told me once. They said, "Look, when we die, we know we're going to hell. We're worshiping Santa Muerte and praying to her so that our death isn't so bad."
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that works. I mean, okay, you know,
Makes sense.
yeah, you know. Why do we all have to go to hell? I mean, I mean, is that such a bad thing after all? I mean,
I try to go there like every weekend if I can. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's a real party. I mean, there's a lot of cool personalities. Like left hand path personalities are cool. I just got to say.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
After all, the Barrel of Monkeys, Bale, he's a lot of fun.
I like the name Bale Cadmon. That's clever.
Yeah, yeah, Cadmon, Master, man. That's actually pretty clever. Yeah, Adam Cadmon, Bale
Yeah.
Cadmon.
Hmm. Very clever.
Oh, yeah, that is clever, isn't it? Yeah,
Um,
good author too, man.
who are some maybe celebrities that you think might be occultists in disguise?
I mean, I think
Oh,
every famous person has some degree of esoteric wisdom. That's how they rise into the spotlight
For
most of the
sure.
time.
yeah, I agree with Justin. I don't have anything to add to that either. I think he's right.
True, true.
Some people are more about it though and talk about it. I know like Lady Gaga talks about the occult and like some people, you know, like I don't know, like I think Beyonce and Jay-Z like talk about it a lot, but I think the people that are talking about it are probably spending less time practicing it.
Jay Z is a Mason and like is a 32nd degree Mason. Like I do know that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And he likes to fancy himself some kind of Illuminatus now,
Yeah.
which is where you had the whole Tupac beat Illuminati. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
that's way far beyond what we intended here.
That's for
I
another
like that.
time.
I like that. Um, but yeah, so what are some new things you guys are both looking into, and has your mindset within the left hand path evolved since our interviews?
Hmm.
Just
That's
you
it.
want to go first? You want me to do it?
You can go ahead.
Well, I am very pleased to say, brother Lord Psycho, that I am a published author now. I have
Hmm.
published on Kindle the Grand Grimoire of the legendary Prince Orobus.
Hmm.
And yes, that's a fucking game changer because now I'm somebody. I spent 2 years doing pro bono work to get people to know who I was. I
Hmm.
spent nearly 2 years in private practice as a magician for hire. Now I have the reputation, and now I'm a published author. Now I'm actually doing things. So, yes, as far as esoterically or magically, I'm looking into stuff like in Tranquil adding new abilities to my repertoire because I want to be able to serve whatever my customers need, my clients need, and I'm getting 70 to 80% rates of success for the clients, and like all of them keep coming back. Like it's just beautiful, man. Like I feel like I've hit a fucking plateau. Like I know I still have a long way to go, but this feels fucking good, bro. I just gotta say.
Congratulations, man. I do a little bit of writing myself, but I haven't even actually like gotten anything into a book. Like here's my research notes from like the last 2 years. I just need to like condense them down into something that's solid and try and get published myself because I think I've got a
Years
lot to add.
before you could be published, man, because people need to hear what you have, man. Like you know stuff and shortcuts and things that, man, like nobody that doesn't have 20 years in would know. You have valuable knowledge. You should write, dude. You absolutely should.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and you're articulate. You're intelligent, man. I think you could absolutely write for sure. Get on that Kindle and start going on it. Boom.
I will, I promise. As far as new stuff goes, like I'm just constantly trying to open up my awareness of the shadow and the Qlipoth or the Qliphoth, however you want to say it. I'm always just drawn to new experiences in general, and like I keep a journal. Like I recommend everybody keep a journal. Everyone does, but I recommend it again. And I'm constantly looking back 3 months and saying, how can I do that differently? What else can I extract from that experiment?
For sure, for sure.
That's good. That's introspective, and a lot of people don't have that.
Hmm.
And if you're not being introspective, you're not asking yourself the difficult questions. When I fail a project, and I look at it and say, the magician who could have succeeded, what would he have done differently than me?
That's a great question.
Yep.
Really.
What would he have done differently than me? Because otherwise we aren't growing. Like if we're not able to be critical of ourselves and look at our mistakes and look at what we could have done better, then we're missing out. We're really missing out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the night side too. Do you ever experience clip off bleed through where like everything gets really weird and like you sense strongly like secret opera and like spirits will begin to talk through people like you know that they're talking to you and you know it's a spirit, you're not dealing with a person, and they're
Yeah.
just kind of like, yeah, man, that's wild, isn't it?
It's funny too, because a lot of times it's when people will say something and then they're like, I don't know why I said that. Or they'll
Yeah,
start talking and then all of a sudden they'll just go off on a rant and I'm picking out like clues and codes from workings that I've done.
yeah, dude, that's exactly right, man. Like
Yeah.
I had Astaroth get into my elderly foster mom, and she started talking about my girlfriend at the time, and it was like being in a fucking locker room with the guys. She was saying such crass, nasty things. I was like, how is my 70-year-old mother speaking like this, like a sailor? And I knew it was Astaroth. I could see it in her face. It was just like, holy shit. And he finally let go and fucked off, and it was just like, you know,
That's interesting. Yeah. I usually keep like I have a certain like sigil that I keep in my mind whenever I want to like kind of push that back a little bit because I already have enough trouble focusing anyway. Whenever that my workings start talking through other people, it's like, okay, this is too much.
yeah, yeah. I've learned to take a deep breath and say, I acknowledge you, but I'm not interested.
Yeah, not right
That's
now.
respectful for his setting, you know,
Mm.
like because like they think that what they have to say is important. When you're doing clip off initiation, if you are not doing your dream journal and you are not really looking inside and acknowledging your shadow, it will reach out to touch you.
Oh
You
yeah,
know? Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
It's like you can go insane, die, get diseased. Like I've seen people have complete change in sexual orientation from a clip off initiation gone wrong. I
Hmm.
mean, really, it's some shit.
Yeah, I've
Like
definitely experienced things like that too.
if you fuck around with clip off and you are not prepared or worthy, it will fuck you up.
Yeah, I think you have to have a place for the energies to go. And that's one reason that I recommend people actually familiarize themselves with the light side of the tree. And people are like, man, fuck that. I don't want to. It's like, dude, trust me, you're gonna be a better left-hand practitioner if you
Yeah.
if you have those slots opened already in order to corrupt. That's kind of how I think about it. That might not be the right terminology, but that's how I think about
Well, yeah, corrupt is a good word. Impurity is a good word.
it. Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, you're absolutely right because I mean, how do you know what the fuck the false Venus is or the corruption of Venus if you don't know Nietzsche?
exactly.
How can you distinguish one from the other? You can't.
Right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
And
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 if
they feel very different.
yeah, and if like it's like pathworking in general, like if you go to pathwork and Netzach and you're seeing like fire and swords and spears, you're in the wrong place. Like, how are you supposed to know if you're in Golakab or not? You know what I mean?
Oh, that was the worst, man. God, that was the fucking worst.
Yeah, I feel like I was gonna die for like a
Oh,
week.
dude. I was crying like almost every morning waking up from those dreamscapes. It was horrible, bro.
That's
Oh my
exactly what
God.
happened to me. That is exactly what happened to me. I was having dreams that I was being drowned. I was having dreams that I was being my like arms and legs were being ripped off while I was awake. I had dreams I was being lit on fire and I was waking
For,
up screaming.
for years at a time, this would go on in Dreamscape. And then you'd wake up and like, you're like, oh my God, it's not real. Like, what the fuck? And like, it was going on for years.
Damn.
Yeah. You need to
It,
see it as a left hand path magician, what you are capable of under the right circumstances. Because everything you're seeing is you.
yeah, absolutely. It's a reflection of your potential, essentially.
Yeah.
And mine didn't last for years, thankfully. But they were so bad
It's
that
like,
my partner was having to pull me out of the bed to wake me up and show me that I wasn't asleep anymore.
oh God, that was horrible. Yeah, that was really, really bad, man.
Yeah,
Really.
but I feel
It was
stronger for it.
it was really, really bad for me this time going through it too. I thought I might get a pass, but nope. Same shit. Same shit.
Yeah, that's a really tough one. I think it's interesting that we both experienced it the same way. That just makes it so much more real,
That's called SPG, shared personal gnosis.
as opposed
Like
to a UPG. Okay, okay.
unverified personal gnosis, yes. And that's where when we start to compare notes, like with that forum, OM, a
Hmm.
lot of clarity comes from seeing what your peers are experiencing too.
Hmm.
I actually had a conflict with three intermediate left-hand pass students, and I went wild because I was in Golachov, and I just really, really overdid it, and really like people are like, you do realize your shadow is almost completely in control right now, man. I'm like, no, I don't, you know. But I went wild with it. Like I took it way too far.
It
I
happens.
smashed them bad, and they needed it. But yeah, I could have had a little bit more control about it. But yeah, when you're going through your shadow, man, that's some shit, man.
Yeah, it's funny because I find like whenever I'm in like Gola Cobb, it's like all my energy is concentrated. And the converse of that is Arak's what is it? Arab Zarak, and that's like the dispersing ravens. So it's interesting that it's the contrast to that because when I get angry, it's all in my chest, and then the converse of that energy is to disperse. So I don't know, I find that interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't like to smash other magicians if I don't have to. I'm like not one of those kind of practitioners. But like if a motherfucker comes out of pocket or threatens you or like tries to besmirch your reputation or down you, you got to do something about it.
Yeah, especially if it's your livelihood.
Well, yeah, it's like, the motherfuckers are running off at the mouth, and it's like, then they want to go hide behind a master magician and think that it would be all fucking good. And it's like, no, it's not going to be all good. You don't have a pass just because you have a master magician as your teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. If anything, that master magician will let you get it yourself. That way you can grow stronger.
Interesting you brought that up. With a lot of people, you can talk to their spirit guides or their angels, and you can tell them what they've done. And you can say, hey, look, I'm not going to kill them or anything like that. But we all agree they need to be spanked for this and hopefully learn something. And you can get
Yeah,
a lot of the resistance right out of the way, man.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, clip off, man. Whew.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost like I don't know, it's almost like the light side of the tree is like you're in school, and the dark side of the tree is like you're in a fucking war.
Do you feel that there is a war between the two factions?
it definitely seems that way, but I wonder how much of that is our human perspective projecting it, because like a lot of times I get, like personal symbolism, and I wonder how much I have experienced that, but I wonder how much it's our species lens on things.
I was told that the battle between light and darkness takes place within the human heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like when we go through clip off initiation in particular, like in our universe, we are choosing who is going, like we are choosing who is going to win that war.
Yeah, like we're
And
tipping the scale, right?
yeah, like in my book, I definitely choose the night side. I think everything should be taken right back to the nighttime, just like it came from. You know,
Yeah, and I think we're
uh,
doing the light a favor by making it stronger by choosing this side a little bit more often. Like we're giving some resistance.
well,
Like
you
in
know
a
what?
good way.
I hate to say this, but the night side has grown incredibly exponentially in the last 300 years. Nearly half of the jinn tribes, from what I understand, all are loyal to Lucifer.
Hmm.
Um, just a lot of neutral spirits are going with Lucifer.
Yeah.
He actually has really good shot at this, just from an objective perspective. And I know both Michael and Lucifer, and I can't tell you who's stronger, to be honest with you.
Hmm. Interesting.
I mean, like so, each of us makes that decision in our universe of which side will be crowned. Like each of us, every day through free will,
Hmm.
brings Sita R to this world or Kadusha,
Hmm.
and that's the beauty of free will. You know,
Yeah, I like
Okay,
that take.
so I have a question for you guys.
Mhm.
Do the spirits sometimes maybe feel a little bit like extraterrestrial to you
Oh
guys?
yeah. Oh
And
yeah, definitely.
do you think
some, some.
cultures might have when they talked about aliens, maybe they were talking about like different spirits we work with in magic?
I definitely get
I
that vibe.
I have no idea, man. Like you are way outside of my pay grade, but I suspect strongly there is something to that.
So I can talk about that a little bit from experience. I whenever I was doing my year long mushroom regimen, I experienced so like I was working with the spirits that I had been working with for years, but now I was working with them on mushrooms. And it was almost like I was looking in someone's windows in their house, and now they had invited me into their home. Like it was like I could perceive that much more of their frequency, and it felt very fucking extraterrestrial. But when I say that, like I don't necessarily mean like gray and green people. Like I mean like super terrestrial. Like it was like preceded the earth. Like it was before the earth was even formed and these energies were already there. And I think sometimes they manifest as like, alien extraterrestrial things, but like I've like followed them to places that were seemingly other worlds. And it wasn't what I experienced with pathworking. Like they didn't take me to Tiferet or Chesed, or they didn't take me to, you know, like any clepopic spheres. Like this was something totally different. One time I experienced it seemed like a world that was entirely just made of metal, but it was alive. And this thing was talking to me and putting visions in my head. And it told me to ask these questions that blew my mind. It said, who, what, when, where, how, why. And I was like, okay. So I asked myself, who are you? And I got an answer. And I said, okay, well, then who am I? And then I got an answer. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck? Those were two different answers. So then I realized like we almost have like an extraterrestrial counterpart that isn't angelic or demonic. And it's almost like the angels and the demons are the left and right hemisphere of our extraterrestrial counterpart to some degree. Like, but I don't fucking know.
Yeah, yeah. I understand what you're saying. Like there and my mentor who really doesn't like anything to do with the Abrahamic theologies, Kabbalah, none of it. He's just not with it. He calls it Jewish mysticism. He's on something completely different with Hecate. And he says there are worlds that have nothing to do with anything, like worlds that are Norse worlds, Egyptian worlds, worlds like we haven't even comprehended yet. like there's so much in the astral, in the upper and lower, different fucking realities, man, that we can access if we're invited or we're shown the way. You know? Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's frightening to me because I like everything to fit in my nice little tree of life and my tree of death. But I realize there's a lot more to the universe than just that. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
it's
right.
there's always growth at the edge of your comfort zone.
Yeah, I started working with Hecate actually lately because of I'm
Hmm,
trying to push the comfort zone. Yeah,
interesting.
Hecate actually is a really great deity to work with. I found her to be very easy to deal with, provided you don't try to bullshit her or you're not making excuses when you work with her. Um, I dig her. My patron Prince Arobus is allegedly, according to VK Jehanam, a messenger of hers.
Interesting.
Yeah. What do you think of VK?
I'm not familiar actually. That's a new entity, a new current for me.
VK Jehanam is absolutely great. If you haven't read him, he's like me and you. Like he's like a mix of demonetry and ceremonial magic, like a hybrid.
Okay.
Like where we take the best techniques from each thing that we study and bring it in and make it part of a cohesive, functioning whole practice. You
Yeah,
know?
like syncretism or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
So there's a lot
that's
of.
interesting.
I'm not. You're wrong. I don't like these people though that say that they're star seeds and that they're special and they descend from the stars and it's like
Yeah, it seems like partial perspective to me, and they're just like living it so hard that it doesn't matter whether it's right or not.
or like
Hmm.
these women that claim to be the wife of Asmodee and it's like Asmodee has 6,000 fucking wives. What makes you special?
Yeah, I've heard that before.
I'm
It's like
trying
I
to
bet if I ask Asmodee to do something and you ask him to do something, I bet he'll do what I ask him to do.
I'm trying to have 6,000 wives.
Oh, there's a spell for that.
Okay,
I'm just
I
kidding.
have to learn it.
I'm sure there is, but I don't fucking know it. I'm not sure I'd want that much chaos in my life, man.
Yeah, one woman is enough to really make your life hell. I mean, you think the
Absolutely.
cookout? No, I'm just fucking. I don't mean to make women angry.
I wouldn't mind maybe two. What's you guys' opinion on that polyamory and how King Solomon had a bunch of wives and stuff like that? Do you guys feel like that's maybe something that could make somebody powerful? And do you guys
I
think
mean,
it
doesn't all like doesn't like every ruler do that somehow?
yeah. And do you guys maybe
Yeah.
think that's a left-hand path ideology over Christian
I mean,
people
look at the
prefer
Mormons. I don't
getting
know
married?
about that. Mormons have multiple
Oh
wives,
yeah.
and I think they consider themselves to be pretty right hand.
True, true.
Yeah.
But that might
True.
be an outlier. I don't know.
You know, demonetry thinks that it's a right hand path religion because it's involved in the worship of demonic entities as if they're gods.
Yeah,
Which it's like I'm not going to suck demon dick. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to do it. Like I'm not get rid of one god so that I can have a new god. I just didn't. That doesn't make any fucking sense, you know.
exactly. Yeah, I've actually got a line in one of the rites. I try to write my own ceremonies, and I recommend that if you are if you have enough ingenuity and enough wisdom in the tradition that you're part of, I recommend. I'm not speaking to you, but just people who might be listening. I recommend writing your own rituals as much as you can. But one of the things that I say in one of my rites is, I bow before nothing and no one henceforth. Because like you said, I didn't give up one God to get another one. Like I'm trying to, manifest as much of myself as I can.
Yeah, celebrate your own divinity. Like live your own divinity. Find your truth and live it. You know, like that. That's the highest form of your own divinity that you can possibly live. Why jump on somebody else's dick or swing off their nuts? You've got your own divinity, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Man. And those correspondences will enable you to build coherent rituals that make sense. My second teacher beat the shit out of me with correspondences because I didn't like them. We had
Yeah.
to go through 7 all the fucking time until I knew it like this.
Those fucking tables, man. There's like 40 of them, dude.
Yeah,
Or more. Yeah, the
yeah, correspondence
correspondences are very important.
really, really, really important.
Like it's
I mean,
kind of at
how
the
else?
foundation of magic, really.
I don't like Skinner's Book of Magical Tables. I think it's pretty dry and there's too much Christian stuff in it. I really
Mhm.
like 777 though. That was brilliant.
I have to agree with you there, but I do like some of the alchemical tables and the magician's
Those
tables. Those are really interesting.
those are pretty cool. Yeah, you are right. Yeah, you're
But
right
that's
about that.
not necessarily Christian though. That's more like Hermetic.
What do you think of Franz Bardon's initiation into Hermetics?
So I hated it at first because I felt like it was going to take me 20 years to finish. So then what did I do? I went into Mystical Kabbalah by Dion Fortune and
Yep,
then
good book.
returned. Yeah, great book. Then I returned back to IIH and realized how much was there. And when I finally finished it, it took me like 3 years to finish it because I was actually doing the practices and stuff. When I finally finished it, I looked back and I was like, who the fuck was that guy? Like before I even started
Yeah,
reading it. Like because it really does it reforms your consciousness in a way and like recapitulates it.
it makes you a magician. Like you can do magic without asking anybody for a goddamn thing. You can do it yourself. And when
Mhm.
you can do it yourself, the spirits want to make partnership with you.
Absolutely. It's less of, hey,
Yep.
can you do this for me? And more of, hey, I'm doing this. Do you want to be a part of it?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Like they are our hands over there. We can be their hands here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. hmm
And if you're holding your hand out begging for favors, your priority level to them is like next to none. They'll get to you if they get to you. But if you actually have some juice, they take your request pretty seriously, you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
mostly.
You're more likely to catch a pile of shit than a handout if you're just sitting there with your hands out and open all the time.
Yeah, like people, and like a lot of people wonder why the spirits like ignore them. Like, first of all, you haven't even been introduced to the spirit. The spirit doesn't even know who you are. You
Yeah.
really, a North African practice that's been in practice for 1,000 years, one magician would introduce to another magician the spirit.
hmm hmm
And that way, hey, this is a magician I trust. He's honorable. He'll keep his word. Are you willing to work with him? And once you have that, boom. But if you can do it yourself, that's great. But I mean, if you can't,
Yeah, definitely. I recommend a sort of approach before contact. Like
yeah,
at least familiarize yourself with their correspondences and at least give an offering of some kind. And it doesn't have to be an offering like, oh, here's half of my money. Like you said, I'm not trying to suck anything's dick, but it's like light some incense in a commemoration or something for it before you try to command it to do something. Like that's just my take on it, I guess.
yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you can command them if you know how. I like
Mhm,
to ask nicely
mhm.
first. That's how I
Yeah,
like to. I like to try to. And
absolutely. Yeah.
if we have to go into the I'll command you, then we will. But I prefer to like I prefer to kind of put out feelers. Like I've got a job. I put out
hmm
feelers. I got two or three spirits interested.
hmm
I kind of do divination with each and find out okay who's going to be the best fit, and then we
Right.
start figuring kind of what you want and what I can do for you, and then we just kind of make it work. I mean, now like when your boss says, "Hey, can you clean the bathroom?" He's not really asking you if you can. He's kind of telling you to do it. But
Yeah,
he's
but
being
you're more
nice about it.
likely to do it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, like that.
So
Like
I like how you
yeah,
say you do a divination to figure out which spirit is, going to be better for the working. I think that's something that's overlooked is divination. And there's so many different forms of it, but I mean, you can do something as simple as like pick up a rock, and like toss it on the ground and then scry in your mind and see what type of images you get, see what type of feelings you get. You don't have to cast runes or read tarot. Divination can be very simple. Sometimes I'll just look in a mirror for divination.
I flip coins. I do leaves and toothpicks in water to see things certain sometimes.
I like that.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like one way, like when somebody says I'm cursed or I have a parasite, I take two
Oh God.
and I drop them into a bowl of water. And when they drop in, if they separate, then there's no curse. If they cross, then the person isn't that crossed.
Let me
Yeah.
ask you
That's
this. Let me ask you this. How often I swear to God, people are always going on about being cursed or being attacked. How often in your experience is it just
One
an
in 10.
adversarial? Well, how often in your experience is it that it's just an adversarial egregor or a thought form that they created and just either programmed incorrectly or forgot about and are going against its current? And so it's like leeching energy from them, because I find that to be way too common, like 90% of the time.
Some people, like, we all have a psychic sensor, like, because if we didn't, everything we imagined would manifest, including our worst fears. So it's
Mhm.
really good that we have that sensor in our mind. And a lot of magic is getting around the sensor to manifest what we do want. Some
Yeah.
people's sensor is a little bit weak or fucked up, and so they can manifest their own fear through law of attraction, or
Yeah.
their own negativity manifests around them. That definitely happens. To see someone actual under attack or with a real parasitic infection, it's unusual.
It's so rare. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to really go out of you have to piss people the fuck off, man.
Yeah.
Because
Someone
I
actually
mean,
has to go. I was just going to say, someone has to go out of their way to do it and have the time and have the knowledge. And that's so rare that people have the knowledge and the time and are willing to waste it on somebody else.
a lot of people think they can do one ritual or one spell and that's the end of it. And if you're good and you're lucky, yes, you can. But a lot of us need to do one, two, three, four. It takes until you guys
Yeah.
did it until the job done. A lot of people don't have that. Like, when I curse somebody, I put Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday. And
Yeah.
I'm just
Mars, Saturn. Yep.
banging.
Yeah.
Like, I had a guy that like had loose bowel movement, like in public, and had somebody. He imagined somebody was sleeping in his bed with him. There was something in his bed. He about lost his mind. I'm like, yeah, dark spirits. That was a great one, though. I just had to bring that up. I'm sorry.
What
But
days were those again?
Tuesday and Saturday,
Okay.
Mars and
Yeah.
Saturn.
Any specific
Yep.
time?
Well, the hour of Mars and Saturn, probably.
Sunrise is always the first hour of the day. So sunrise on Thursday is the hour of Jupiter. Sunrise on Tuesday is the hour of Mars. And then it goes through the cycle, and 6.5 or 7 hours later,
Yep.
it will again be the Mars. Uh, I, because of my work full time with this, and I do this full time, man. I'm up 6 days a week at the crack of fucking dawn for
Yeah.
ritual.
Same. Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, it just is what it is. I mean, like, and I can't afford the power sitting on the table unused. I'm not so big that I can do that yet. Like,
Yeah. Me
if
either.
there's planetary, I can use it, then I should, rather than like not using.
Yeah, I think that it's really important. Like the way that I see it, like when I sleep in and the sun's already up, I feel like I'm not drinking in that energy. You know what I mean? So I try to be up around sunrise and I, shower and cleanse and do my ceremony right at sunrise every single morning and have for, I don't know, years and years. So I'm definitely, parallel with
And
that.
you're very strong.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're very strong when you first wake up because your mind isn't cluttered from the day yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not
Yep.
diluted with all the other
I like to take.
frequencies. I'm sorry, you like to what? So one thing I guess I'll say is I
Yeah, I
tried
agree with that.
to
Yeah,
I tried to not even talk to anyone else or like open my phone for the first 3 hours that I'm awake. Like those first 3 hours I'm awake are sacred to me. And like if my partner asks me something, like obviously I'll respond, I'll answer, but the first 3 hours of my day are absolutely sacred. And I wish it was the last 3 hours as well, but by then I'm so worn out that I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm just gonna
yep,
chill.
yep. You're absolutely right, man. Yeah, That's exactly how it works for me too. Yep.
Excellent.
Do you practice professionally or semi-professionally?
So I do like pro bono consultations, and then I have a
Yep.
donation site that like people can donate if they want to, but I love it so much, and I already have everything that I need, and I'm not greedy, so like I get by. And like I just actually just started school, and my school starts in a month, so I might start charging a little bit more to start paying off student loans. But most of what I do, I would say 75% of what I do is just pro bono. Um, like pre-psychiatric
Yeah, that's
evaluation.
how I started too. And that's how
Yeah.
you get clientele. And when you're good
Yeah.
at what you do, and you like, yeah, you know,
Yeah, people will come back
if
if you
you're
know
good at
what you
what you
do.
do and you can get results, you'll get repeat referral clientele. Like I don't even advertise.
Yeah, me either. Like I just end up talking to people and then they're like, hey, like this and that. And I'm like, I can help you out with that. And then they're so pleased most of the time that they send me one or two other people. And I'm like, okay, well, like I'll try and schedule you
That's
in, you know?
That's beautiful, man. That's and you know that you're doing a good job when that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really it's just about caring for people, listening, trying to be there to help them. Like a lot of magicians, if they fail, they're just done with the project. Fuck it, you know. I actually tried a different approach for free to try to fix it before anything else. It's
Yeah, I think
stuff
that's the
like
way
that.
to go.
It is the way because you got mother. I'm not gonna name them, man, because it's just gonna turn into a big fight. But you got dudes that are charging $500 a ritual. The ritual is cold garbage when you see the video, and like nothing happens over and over to so many people. And like
Man.
then their next suggestion another ritual that's $500 because the first one didn't work. That's crazy.
Yeah, I to me that's cheating, and what that is to me is somebody trying to reinforce. It's them trying to reinforce in their mind like how important it is. Like if somebody pays $500 for something, they're going to be putting a lot of thought energy into it. So the magician has to do less. Where the person who does it for free, they've got to really fucking work because that person might not give a shit whether the ritual works or not.
Yeah, there is that. There is that. I think that like it's a red flag when the rates are way too high and the rates are way too low.
Mhm.
Um, it's a red flag to me because people shouldn't have to break themselves to go see the magician. You know,
Yeah.
it should be a deal where it works out for everybody. You know, like you said, not being too greedy, looking at the bigger picture, and
Mhm.
like if somebody doesn't have the money and it's a serious case, fuck it, I'll just do it anyway. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, I
yeah.
do it because I enjoy it and I like teaching. So that's most of what I do is almost like consultations, but like occasionally I'll get someone to say like, "Hey, my boyfriend won't leave me alone," and it's like, "All right, bro, I'm carving a candle right now. Like, don't worry about it." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever it takes. You know, make a rusty nail and broken glass jar. You know what I mean? Like I do. I guess I do use a little bit of folk magic just because like I was raised
It
sort of that way, but I
it
prefer
works.
ceremonial magic. Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer ceremonial magic too. It's for me, like I get a lot more juice out of it. People
Hmm.
don't realize you get out of a ritual what you put into a ritual. If your
Absolutely.
ritual sounds like old people fucking and has that kind of energy, you're not going to get anything out of it. When I'm in a ritual, I shout like, you know, I am a god of this aeon. Come you forth and follow me. I am your god. And like I make the spirit know, you know, like that's what time it is. You know, you should be
Yeah,
sweaty in a good ritual. You know,
absolutely. Yeah, like you want to get those neurotransmitters and you want to get those chemicals going in your bloodstream to just reinforce that vibration. Because I feel like
yeah,
adrenaline has a spiritual vibration. Like, you know,
yep. It
dopamine has a
absolutely
spiritual
does.
vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yep,
really
it
important
absolutely.
yeah, it's dramatic psychology is one of the ways that I look at it.
Yeah, it's like the theater of it, like the symbols, the signs, the horses, unlock the keys to the psyche.
Yeah, yeah, well said.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like
Absolutely.
that.
And that's of it too. For anybody that hasn't ever seen ceremonial magic in full action, I mean that it's a beautiful thing. Like whether it's night side or RHP side, it's still a beautiful thing to behold.
Yeah, it's an art
Yeah,
form. Yeah.
it is. I mean, you can get some results out of the folksy magic too. I mean, I like that stuff too, like for certain jobs. But
Mhm.
you know, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, man. Like I feel like I'm talking to like myself, kind of like it's like you're like me, kind of like so crazy.
Yeah, it's funny. I have the saying, similar forms channel similar forces, and in the same respect, similar forces will create similar forms. So I think us both working with the light or with the left side rather, like kind of creates a similar modality in our minds maybe. But I
I
don't know.
thought I was the only one who created this whole thing, whatever the fuck this is, this practice, like I thought I was the only one that did it this way. Like, and you completely on your own have had the same books, the same experiences, and have pretty much come up with the same fucking thing. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I enjoy it, you know. I spend all my time doing it and trying to figure out how to spend more time doing it. Maybe I have an obsession, I don't know.
Yeah, this is a calling. This is a vocation. For this
Mhm.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely a relationship for sure.
What do you think? What do you think of Shem Angels? Have you worked with them before?
No, I haven't. The angels from the Shem Hamefarash.
Yeah. I
No, I
did a
haven't.
video on my YouTube. Check out that YouTube video on the Shem invocation and talisman. Really
Okay.
powerful shit. It is really Kedusha. You got to go into it with love, admiration, and awe for ground because don't. It's going to be ugly. But if you can move to the life and do it and make it happen, make that shit happen, the Shem angels are wow.
Okay. Yeah, I
And
definitely have looked at. I know like Poke Runyon has like the Master Mandala, and I've always loved to look at that just for like the archangels and you know like the goetic demons and stuff, but I've never actually looked at it from the Shem perspective.
I combined poetic demons with Shem angels like I really have to. Because
Yeah.
they really know and they talk to each other about us, you know that, right?
Yeah, yeah, I could imagine. So are the Shem are the goetic demons the shadow side of the Shem angels?
Oh man, you're touching on something really, really hot and brilliant. And I've been thinking that myself. I just don't know. And I think you're onto something.
Hmm. I'd like to
Yeah,
find
I
out.
think you're onto something. They are a part of a whole, and I don't
Sure.
understand exactly how it works. I know this: if you bind them with Shem angels, they will hate you.
I
If
can
you
see that.
torture them, experimental Solomonic ritual torture, they will hate you. So I tell them,
Yeah.
guys, look, don't take my offerings and tell them you're going to do the job and then sit around and fuck me off. Because if you do that, I'm going to send you right back up there. And if you fuck me again, and you're not going to like that. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, I've only
that's just
ever
how I.
had to like bind like one goetic demon before, and like I don't even want to say its name because once I have bound something, I don't work with it anymore at all. But I've only ever had to do that
So,
one time.
yeah, yeah. Once you cut ties with that spirit, man, yeah, it's done. It's a done deal.
Yeah, it's
But
kind
I
of a
got a
burnt
really
bridge.
Yeah, it's a burnt bridge. I got a really great spell I'm going to kick off to you guys real quick here. This is really awesome and it's quick. This is called a Hecatian Abjuration, and this is by Jason Miller's Reversal Magic. This is great.
Okay.
When you have a spirit that's pushing up on you unwanted and you want to get them the fuck away, this is what you do. I am an initiate of Citra Akra. I am an adept of the night side. Hear me, Hecate Propolos, Hecate Phosphorus, Hecate Cathonia, Hecate Primordial, Lady of Tartarus, Hecate is great shadow, Spirit X is a small shadow, and will be dissolved. As it's nothing. Hecate, in your great name, I abjure Spirit X. All signs and forms are banished now and forevermore. And man, they listen when you do that. Like they fuck right off.
Yeah, that feels really
Great.
powerful. I like that.
Yeah, that it's simple, it's graceful, it's nice, man. Like if the spirit doesn't want to fuck off, sometimes you have to make it fuck off, you know?
Absolutely. I
Like
love I was
like
just
if
gonna
you
go ahead, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say I love the
A lot of
repetition of the names.
a lot of practitioners think that they can get by with goodwill with the demons.
Hmm.
Here's the thing, if you do not have the ability to protect yourself from them, they will not respect you and they will test you at some point because
Yeah.
they know the emperor has no teeth. You need to know how to use Shem angels. You need to know how to use ritual torture so that if they fuck with you, you don't have to take their shit. You don't have to do it to them. If they know you can, that's enough.
Yeah, I've noticed it's almost like angels test you on your willingness to like bend yourself, and the demons like test you like in your strength and your mastery, and make sure that you can even like handle like what they're trying to bring to you, in a sense.
Yeah, yeah. I spent 20 years avoiding lessons from spirits. I told my patrons, look, don't bring me lessons. Do what the fuck I ask you to do. If you start bringing me hardships and challenges, you're fired. And like, because I
That's
didn't want that. And I just want money for nothing and chicks for free. They found ways to bring challenges anyway.
of course they did,
Demons,
yeah.
demons test you and make you gain strength through challenge and through resistance. I
Yeah,
completely agree with that statement.
yeah, it's all about adversity.
Yeah, it is the adversarial current. Yeah. Now, what's the difference to you between the draconian current and the adversarial current? And are they just kind of the same thing?
So it seems like the draconian current is more about, that's a really good question. It seems like the draconian current is more about recycling things and improving them, and the adversarial current is more about pushing through what you already have, and or like pushing through into new things as opposed to recycling old ones and making them stronger.
I would even go so far as to saying rejecting the old and embracing the new
Yeah,
with the adversary. Because
yeah,
we
that's,
literally, I mean, if we live in a Western country, chances are we have Judeo Christian baggage from our birth.
oh yeah,
And
that
it
took
takes
me a
a,
long time to get rid of that.
yeah, me too, man. Me fucking too. I was scared shitless to meet Lucifer for 20 years.
Yeah,
Terrified.
yeah,
Like, you have to learn to say, fuck that god, fuck that tyrant, fuck that usurper. I don't want to roll with him anymore. You know, we have
yeah.
to reject it and the other side.
So
So
hallucinogens were probably the most foremost thing that helped me push that programming out, because once I took LSD for the first time, I immediately saw that my Christian worldview was incorrect. And that was just like, boop, half the baggage gone overnight. So that was like a blessing for me to have hallucinogens available.
almost like ketamine too. People do that with
Yeah,
ketamine to get over.
yeah,
Yeah,
uh-huh.
and that's what
Absolutely.
the religions are. They're spiritual trauma, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a
It's
great, yeah.
it's yeah. I mean, like they instill in us fear of punishment, dread. They
Guilt,
talk about
yeah.
loving kindness, mercy, but we don't see very much of that. I was just seeing a friend of mine had a relative, an 8-year-old boy, in the hospital, and his surgery went badly, and he's bleeding out internally, and he's going to die. And I said, what kind of universe A is this where Tetragrammaton runs everything, and this is what we get? Young kids like don't even have a chance here. The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. What the fuck kind of shit is that? I
Yeah,
don't want that kind of, I just don't want him.
yeah,
I would totally take the night side any day of the week, any day of the week, because Universe A and Universe B, the dark god of the Clippa, the thoughtless light versus the thoughtful light. Um, I just, I just think we need to change the management, man.
yeah,
That's all.
absolutely.
My Prince Oribus would like to give each of you a very brief reading on one single question of your choice.
Okay, who goes first?
Why don't you go first?
Okay. Do I say the question?
Yes, Prince Oribus sees everything, past, present, and future. So whatever you want to know, he can give you a lot of insight on. What would be useful to you to know?
Okay. Let me think about this for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start formulating my question while he's thinking of his too.
Oh,
I'll get some insight.
give me information on my love life and when I'm gonna get if I'm gonna get a girlfriend that is gonna be long lasting and on my same page.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we take a look at your love life for the next 3 months? What's coming in?
Okay, that's interesting.
Right. I'm going to do a 3 card for you, past, present, future.
Okay.
Orobus is going to give me the commentary and tell me the special things that I couldn't know if he decides to. and tell me exactly what you think you should hear. When he gives me a message for you, I can't alter a single word of it. I have to tell you exactly as he told me.
Okay.
That's how this works. All right. Show me, Orbis. Show me. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me ask you this. Did you have a relationship or an interest recently where you were very interested in a girl, perhaps, but she was kind of more on the friend tip or just kind of a nice, pleasant relationship tip and didn't want to take it further like you kind of wanted to?
A little bit of something like that.
Yeah, okay. Here's where we are now. You feel defeated, you feel like you used up all your tricks, you're kind of like fuck this shit, you know. Here's what's coming down the pike if you don't change anything and you just let the future unfold.
Okay.
You're gonna meet an older woman, a woman that's a little
Oh,
bit older,
shit.
dark, okay? She's like an olive complected woman. She probably owns her own business or she does her own hustle to make her own money. She comes from money and she makes her own money. Um, Let me tell you a little bit about her personality so that you kind of know who this is, like when you see her. All right. She is a creature of like creature comforts. She's like an older woman. So if you're in your early 20s, she might be late 20s, early 30s, maybe divorced, but she has money. She's generous. She's kind. She's good looking. That's the girl that you want to go after. Right? And she'll kind of come into the picture within the next, Arovis is saying 6 to 8 weeks. Watch for her. Make a good impression. Just kind of kick it on the friend tip until you get to know her, and it'll go from there.
I actually like that reading. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, great.
Yeah,
A
don't be
All
afraid
right.
of those
little
older chicks,
extra
man.
information for the YouTube audience. If you got this far, you're a real one. So I actually know an older lady that matches that description a little bit, and I've been waiting to chill with her because my car has been broken, but it's in the shop right now, waiting to be fixed. So we'll see.
Great. Arovis is a bad motherfucker, isn't he?
Hmm.
Yeah. Arovis is a bad man. Like, no, we can't keep secrets from him. He's like, man, never mind. What's your question?
So, what are the limitations on this? Should it be present tense or future tense, or can I ask questions about the past?
You can ask questions like, Orobus wants it to be one matter that's important to you, and it can have a past, present, and future connotation to it. That's okay.
All right, I got
And
it.
we can have,
What's
go ahead.
I was going to ask which one of the goetic demons should I work with next?
Okay. Okay, let me ask that. That's a good question. Okay. Vasago.
Oh, Basago. Okay, I thought you said on a side note. Okay, Basago. You know what's
Vasago
funny? Do you know what's funny
or
about that?
what?
But here's what's funny about that. I had this wolf spider in my house, and it was the biggest wolf spider that I've ever seen. And I was like, man, this thing is like the demon of spiders. And I went to name it. I swear to God, like I swear, dude, like I named it Basago. And
What the? Wow.
and and the spider was a male. I I looked it up. I looked everything about it. It was a male, but I kept it in this giant Tupperware and I fed it and I watered it. And then like 3 months later, it had babies. It hatched
Wow.
eggs. And I think that that was like after I finally gave it a name. I was like, I've had this thing for so long. I should name it. And I named it Vasago.
That's creepy, man. That's
I'm a
wild.
little bit blown away by that because there's
Vasago?
72. Like there's 72 of them. Like
How could I know that? Yeah. That's a robot. Look, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. I am not like an awesome psychic. If it wasn't for Aurobus, I would look like a horse's ass. I'm just going to be honest.
yeah, that's interesting. I'll definitely look into Vasago now.
Yeah. Aurobis tells me all kinds of like Aurobis tells me like I had a client the other day. This was great. He says, Mike, I want to know if you're a bullshitter or if you're real. He was a referral. I'm like, I love these clients. These are great. He says, I want you to demonstrate your psychic abilities. I'm like, really? I'm like, please, dear God, Aurobis, don't make me look like a fucking asshole, please. Like, because I'm always scared, like, that I'm gonna like fall flat on my face. Like, no matter how many times I've done what I just now did, no matter how many times, I'm always terrified that I'm gonna fall flat on my face. So he says, what's going on in my marriage right now? And Aurobis said that somebody got their feelings hurt because they weren't invited to a social gathering. And he told me, oh my God, I didn't invite my wife to this deal with my colleagues. And she packed my shit and put it in the lobby of our condo. I'm like, that's
That's pretty
Aurobis, man. Like,
specific.
it's not me, it's him. Like, otherwise, I would totally look like a dumbass.
Well, I
But
appreciate it.
as yeah, Visago actually, there's something about fire, magic, and earthquakes I'm hearing from Aurobis.
That's interesting
Uh,
because one of the things that I do is provide earthquakes for people, but I use that as a metaphorical term because it shakes their foundation and allows
yes,
buried treasure to rise.
yeah, yes, yeah, and the
That's
fire
interesting.
to strip away what was making it so that they couldn't see this.
Well, I also use Tritaka, which is like flame scrying. Whenever I'm working with people and I'm trying to really get into their subconscious, like I scry into candle flames.
Do you have your clairaudience pretty well developed?
Relatively, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm about a 60 to 80%. I literally hear them and like I just tell you what they tell me. And it's always fucking amazing what they know, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I grew up thinking that I was actually like crazy because I would hear voices, like I would hear the spirits in my head telling me shit. Like I would say things 2 seconds before somebody else would, and they would look at me like I was just fucking thinking that, dude. I'm like, I heard
Yeah.
your voice in my head.
A lot of us have problems like get misdiagnosed with schizophrenia or bipolar because of hearing these voices. And we take medicine to shut it off. What we need to learn how to do is control it.
Yep. That's why
Yeah.
a lot of my consultations I consider to be pre-psychiatric evaluation.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for letting me do that. I appreciate it. Like Aurobis just wanted to jump out there and hog the stage for a minute. So whatever
Thanks
you
for
guys
doing
want to
it.
talk about.
No problem.
Thanks to robots, yeah.
Okay, so I have a question. So mental illnesses, since we're on the left-hand path and we have a different perspective and it's a little bit
Football.
more open and spiritual and multi-dimensional, um, we understand things differently. How do you guys see mental illness?
Can I
Um,
chime in here really quick?
what?
I asked if I could chime in first here on this one because this is something I'm super interested in.
Okay, but one more thing.
Okay.
Do you guys feel like they could some of them that they say are not curable could be curable and maybe like including schizophrenia
Yeah, yeah.
and what what is schizophrenia from a spiritual perspective or maybe sometimes it's not spiritual.
So to me, schizophrenia is a manifestation of Talmael. Schizophrenia is a manifestation of the twin-headed God.
Hmm.
Because Keter is unity and its shadow, Thaumael, is the split. And the first time I ever considered using magic to help people with their mental illness was when I started working with the Klipot. I think that anger issues are, an oversaturation of Golakab. Sexual issues, um, are the Yasad, let's see,
Or
Gamaliel. Yeah. Okay. Um, so then, and again, can they be cured? Yes, I think so, and I think they can be cured. And I don't have a degree in this, so this is all speculative, obviously, but I think that they can be cured in one of two ways: either by balancing the polarization of that sphere, but also I think another way. I've thought about this quite a lot lately. I think that all mental illness is just a further gradient away from another one. They're all spectrums. And the way that I experienced this growing up was like autism is on a spectrum. And I think that that spectrum leads into ADHD. And I think that ADHD leads into like bipolar. And then I
Yep.
think bipolar like works into multiple personality. And then like then you
Borderline.
get into like obsession and then you get into like schizophrenia. And I think that if you can learn to reel that back, you can get back to your sense of self again, perhaps.
I'd like to add two things to that. I had a client, okay, whose wife was in and out of the mental institutions for schizophrenia. He was despondent and despairing because this time she had been in there for an entire year. Myself and several other adepts got together and we put together an angelic ritual to heal her mind. And within 4 weeks, she was discharged from the hospital much better than she was ever before. Number two, I believe that we have psychic guards in our mind. Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of this stops those voices from driving us mad.
Yep.
Some of us have defective guards. Okay. And some of us hear even when we don't want to and see even when we don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And that shit, without grounding and without perspective and without knowing what it is, can drag you as mad as a shithouse rat. Is it a
Absolutely.
spectrum?
Yeah.
All a spectrum. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah. And
Do
it's
some
like
people have
that's
balances? Yeah, but I think that the large majority of people with mental illness are suffering from spiritual bondage, spiritual oppression, or spiritual imbalance. Yep.
yeah, definitely. Like impulsive thoughts and stuff. That's just somebody that has their clairaudience, awakened and they don't know how to control it. People who are having hallucinations visually, like that's their clairvoyance.
Yep.
People who feel like they are not themselves. I feel like that might be clairsentience that, is out of control. And it's interesting, like in a lot of the Abrahamic traditions, they talk about the seals breaking. And I think that that is sort of what happens. Like when somebody's seal breaks, so to speak, before they're
Yep.
ready for it, like there is a consequence to that.
Interesting because my right hand path adept teacher said in the right hand path, the abilities, the siddhis, and the psychic powers unfold naturally like a flower in the morning sun. In the
Yes.
left hand path, we force that flower open, and sometimes we ruin our mind and destroy ourselves with it. But we gain our powers a lot faster.
Yeah,
A
that's
lot faster.
definitely congruent with my experience so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, like somebody can spend 10 years just trying to awaken their clairaudience, but you start working with the Klapoth and it's like maybe a few months or a few weeks, you're
Or
hearing
to
shit.
in my book, How to Open Your Clairaudience, no more chakra meditations, no more endless fucking meditations. 4 to 6 months, 3 times a week, 20 to 30 minutes each time, and I swear your clairaudience will open. I have trained almost 10 magicians that will verify this on that form. Yes,
Sounds
it
interesting.
can.
I
It
think you
absolutely
have to
can.
check out that book.
Man, it's not pretty. It's kind of like not pretty, like, but it's all the content is there. I was going to sell it for $3 a piece because I just wanted it to circulate. But then I was like, well, maybe they'll think it's not valuable, so I just upped the price to $8 just to make it seem like it's more valuable. But like, because people are kind of stupid.
It's funny how that
You know,
works. Yeah.
yeah. Like the more that I charge for it, the more value it will have in their mind, and thus it will be better quality information when they choose to read it. Like I did like what you did. Like I just distilled all my experience down and boom, 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 boom. Real methods, real stuff that we use in our practice every day. This is how we get down. And that's what I tried to show them.
Yeah.
Clairaudience is not a fantasy. You can absolutely develop it. It just takes practice, discipline.
Yeah.
If you don't,
Absolutely.
you can't do 30 minutes a week, 3 times a week, I can't help you.
Yeah, exactly. You got to have some level of dedication. It's
Yeah.
funny how that works about the money though. I'm like a part-time musician. Really, I'm an amateur. I do it for the love, but you charge $1 for an album, nobody wants it. You charge $12, all of a sudden 1,000 people are buying it. It's like, all right, I guess I'm charging more money now.
That's what I had to do. Like I was like, okay, well, if that's how you guys want it.
Mhm.
Oh, don't forget, like this month on my YouTube, you guys check out the channeling contest. We're voting for a spirit that I'm going to channel, and you can ask a question to the spirit that you want answered to. That's in the community section. Everybody loves that. Like it's a very fun experience.
Right
That
on.
sounds cool.
Yeah, King Timon was the one we did last time, and man, he was a dick to me when he showed up. Like he was kind of harsh. Do you ever channel spirits?
So I did a lot when I was younger. That's actually one way that I got into the occult. I woke up one night and I had this vision that I was surrounded in fire. I have visions. I have two sisters that are epileptic,
Feels like, yeah. That's all right. Go ahead, man. I'm so surprised.
That's okay. I have visions from time to time. I actually thought about reading one of them on the channel because it's only like a page long. But I think I might have a mild form of epilepsy. My sister, my younger sister, actually has grand mal seizures, and my older sister's had one before, but I don't have the seizures. But what I do is like I work myself into a frenzy internally, and then I snap down into trance, and like it's like I can maintain my state without it actually knocking me unconscious. And I'll have these visions that last anywhere from like 30 seconds to 30 minutes. Um, and so I had this vision. Long story short, I had this vision when I was 13 that I was surrounded in fire. So I went outside and I took like 12 tea light candles and put them around me, like in the middle of the night, and lit them in a circle. And I like heard like the wind blowing through the trees. So like I looked behind me and the tree branch was moving, but then I realized there was no fucking wind. So I was like, okay, that was fucking weird. I opened myself up and I was like, whatever's out there, like, because I didn't know shit about ritual or anything. I was like, whatever's out there, like, I'm asking for help. I want you to train me in this art because I don't know anything about it. And like, it felt like my eye started twitching, and then like
Twitching, yeah.
my lips started quivering, and then all of a sudden, like, I just started like making these weird noises. Like it was like my diaphragm was spasming, and I started hearing a voice in my head. And like it turns out that that was Bodis, and he ended up
Wow.
like instructing me like and a lot of stuff that had to do with the occult. So a lot of my stuff is self-taught just because like I grew up kind of not trusting other people just because of shit that happened in my past. And so like I've always tried to do this as much as I can on my own. And like Bodis, like I have to like give most of the
He's a
credit to.
great reconciler. I have a lot of respect for Botus.
Yeah. So
What
he's
type
the
of
only one
spirit
that I've
is
ever
he?
channeled. Go ahead.
What type of spirit is he?
He's a goetic spirit.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. When I
Yeah.
channel a spirit, it feels like there's a hot piece of metal inside my chest.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
I'm
Yeah. Like a fucking burning coal. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm burning like a candle from both ends, and I can only take it for 20, 30 minutes tops, and then I have to say, please let go, let go, let go. And expel it back out. And it's like, Jesus fuck, man. And then after that, I have to eat something. I'm ravenous, and then I pass the fuck out.
Yeah. So this is like a weird question. For some reason I thought about asking it. Do you have like a go-to like thing that you eat like to ground after a ritual? Or is it just kind of whatever you feel like eating?
Yeah, actually, I eat a big bowl of ramen noodles, or I will eat a spam and cheese sandwich.
Interesting. For me, it's
Yep.
always oatmeal. I just crave like raw, steeled oats. Like no honey, no sugar, no milk, just fucking oatmeal every single time I get out of a ritual.
Carbs. We need carbs after
Carbs.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's gotta be. It's gotta be what it is. Yeah, I use VK Jehannam's possession ritual. That's how I learned how to do this.
Hmm.
And man, you get those spirits in you, and boy, it burns like a motherfucker. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, oof. People don't realize how hard that shit is. Like they want you to do it like a channeling session like for a fee or whatever. And it's like, well, first the spirit has to agree to it, and then second, like that you may ask a question and the spirit may just say that's irrelevant and not answer the question. You know?
Yeah, or give it to you in a way that you have no idea how to translate it for the client.
I find that's a mistake to even try, because if we try, like the message that they give us, if we give
Yeah.
it to the client as faithfully as we received it, it's going to trigger something in them and they're going to know what it means. But if we start trying to fuck around and
Yeah.
paraphrase, it all turns to shit. That's just my experience.
Yeah, the intellect gets in the way and starts dissecting and stuff. I
Yeah,
guess I
yeah.
mean like because like sometimes like if I tell people like, oh, I'm like I'm seeing like a chicken and it's like walking across a frozen over pond, they're like, you're fucking crazy. And I'm like, okay, well, what does a chicken mean? A chicken is like a representation of the sun and the day. What is a frozen pond other than they have an emotional block? I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
so
that's what I thought too. Yeah,
yeah,
that's exactly.
so
Yeah,
that's what I mean by translating, I guess.
that's not a bad like. That's not a bad thing. Like, I guess I'm like used to aerobics. Aerobics is extremely
He's
demanding.
just
Like
crisp. Yeah.
when he gives a message, he tells me I cannot alter a single word of it. I had a guy. No, never mind. I'm not going to tell that story. Um, yeah, he's just. Yeah, it's bad. Anyway, yeah, Elijah, what's up, man?
So, have you guys traveled a lot?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
all over
Like,
Asia,
Very cool.
out of
I've
all the
never been to
places,
Asia.
Vietnam, Korea. I was a teacher when I was in my 20s, and now I live in the Philippines.
out of all
Okay.
the places you guys lived, did you guys encounter any practitioners, and where maybe did you find the most?
Here, actually, in Catholic Philippines, I found two left-hand path practitioners, one adept and one beginner, and one right-hand path. And he came into my temple and he said, "So this is how the other side lives."
That's funny.
Yeah, he was cool though.
Also, I was gonna say, y'all want to hear something interesting?
Yeah, of course.
Right now, I'm on the left-hand path food-wise too. Right now, I've been doing this thing called the carnivore diet, only eating meat,
That's interesting.
right?
I like it.
But, hmm,
Supposedly, if you eat like what's called nose to tail, like eat the organs too, you get all the nutrients you need from vegetables and stuff like that.
that makes sense because a lot of the animals that we take the meat from are ingesting herbs
Yeah, exactly.
and minerals. That's interesting because I'm almost on the opposite spectrum with that. Uh, I always tell people like I'm not vegetarian, but my stomach is. Like I've been in the hospital like since like probably since I was like 12. I've been in and out of a hospital like maybe 100 times for digestive issues. Long story short, I was born with cancer. I think I've told you that before, and they had to do a bunch of surgeries, and that surgery caused scar tissue, and the scar tissue caused digestive issues. So it's interesting because like I can't really eat anything but like I call it wooden water because I eat like fruits and vegetables and like nuts and grains and then like tea and like water. So it's like wooden water for me. And then like I fucking love meat though. Like I miss bacon. I miss steak and that shit. Like, but like really all I can have is fish. So like I guess I'm pescatarian, but like I really
Okay.
don't fucking want to be.
You might be surprised if you look into the carnivore diet, like the
I
different things
tried it.
will say. Oh, you tried it?
I tried caveman, I tried carnivore, I tried I literally because like I had to figure out what I could eat because I kept putting myself in the hospital. So
Damn.
I went through like a dozen different like normal diets. Like I tried cutting out gluten, I tried cutting out like carbs, I tried all meat, I tried all kinds of stuff. And the only thing that didn't put me in the hospital was this what I call the wooden water diet.
Okay, okay. And are there any food or herbs that you used to cook that maybe have a magical significance to you guys?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like that's the thing about knowing correspondences is you can fucking cook up a meal for somebody who's having problems and fix their day without them even knowing you're a practitioner.
Franz Bardon, loading the meal with the right, impregnating it with the right wish, and having the right correspondences. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, intention
Beautiful thing.
is like 9/10 of the issue.
For me, it's black coffee and cigarettes. That's what I need to power this machine of the dark side. I need and I need nicotine. And if I don't
Interesting.
get that, into a real bitch.
That's funny because that's been me these past 2 years. But since I've been on the carnivore diet, I stopped drinking coffee, and I've recently tried to quit nicotine, but I still roll my weed and
And a, and a
cigars.
spliff.
Nobody's gonna get out of life alive. Okay, that's the thing. Like, if you think that you're gonna cheat death because you don't smoke, it's still gonna come for you. You know, you're
Yeah,
still gonna die.
absolutely.
So
Like
have
some,
it,
Yeah,
live
for
how
sure.
you want
But
to live.
uh,
You
I
know,
had from smoking too much, I had recently like my throat started hurting, and it's bad for my music and these interviews too. So I decided to stop a little bit.
well, you know
yeah,
what? If you made it, that's great, man. That's cool.
I just quit smoking cigarettes like 2 years ago after smoking a pack a day for 15 years.
Damn.
So I did it basically. It's not really self hypnosis. I use visualization a lot, and whenever I'm trying to help my clients quit an addiction, I always tell them I have this visualization that I give them. It's pretty powerful. So if you imagine that your attention and your focus is like a faucet of water, the thing that you're focusing on is like a water balloon, and it fills up with that water. And the things that you have focused on a lot are heavy because they're full of water and attention and focus. And when you try to start something new, like that feels so light in comparison to the other balloon. But as you
Yeah,
put your focus into that second balloon, eventually it's going to get so much heavier than that other one that you're going to completely forget about it.
you're touching on an important subject. Thought leads to feeling,
Mhm.
which leads to doing. And in the astral, the longer you focus on a single thing,
Yep.
the more the more firm and real it becomes on the astral, and
Mhm.
thus it begins to make consequences emotionally, mentally, and physically here.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're creating an egregor or a thought form
That's
essentially.
actually something Justin said last time, I believe.
Yeah, yeah,
You
pretty
know, the
much.
ancient Egyptians of Persia used to carry a small silver mirror with them to remind them of the other world and this world.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Of course, you know everything that I know, it seems like. I don't have any
I
tricks to.
don't know about that.
I gotta go, you guys, because I gotta do some ritual work this afternoon. But this has been awesome. Um, please, Justin, send me your links too, like via Lord Cycle. I will totally whatever sites that you want me to boost or whatever. I will totally put it in my YouTube so that people can like. Because my viewers, I tell them, look, if you like what you're seeing here, you're gonna like this guy's stuff too. So check him out. And I know they're gonna go. They're loyal. They're gonna go and check you out.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure, bro. And check
good.
the forum.
All right. Yeah, a cult mirror for him. All right, I got that. All right. Well,
Cool.
good luck with your ceremonies, man. I hope it all goes well.
Yeah, it will. I hope we do this again sometime in the next couple of months, man. This is a lot of fun.
For
Sounds
sure. It was
good.
nice having you, Mike B.
All right,
All right,
peace
take it
out.
easy, man.
Yep.
So we could continue, but what were we last talking about?
So we were talking about the meat carnivore diet and how, oh, there was an interesting point I wanted to mention about that,
Okay.
that there are studies that say that meat changes the pH of the cerebral spinal fluid. So it actually changes the way that your brain functions. So if you were to move to an all carnivore diet, it would have physical effects, which then manifest spiritually as well.
For sure. Like I've been doing it, but I have cheated a little bit here and there. Like
Like what's
um,
what's your cheat? Like what are you craving?
so I did it meat for 2 weeks straight. I was eating fish, chicken, beef, bison, all type of shit. And then
Okay.
I went to the strip club, and I ate a bag of Doritos because I was
I was gonna say was it the celery and ranch, but you had Doritos. At least what flavor were they?
the regular nacho cheese. I like
Oh,
those.
okay. The spicy sweet chili were always my favorite when
Yeah,
I
those
was
are
still
nice
eating
too.
stuff. Those are so good. I
The
don't allow myself to have anything that's canned, boxed, or frozen anymore, though.
Okay, okay, that's cool. Um, so then a few days ago, um, I was gonna make myself meat, and then there was no butter, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna just fucking eat cereal."
I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say you ate it raw.
No, no, no. And then
Was it?
today, I walked in, and my little brother he brought in these things called churros.
Oh, I
with
love churros. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, with like chocolate or like Nutella on it or something. So I
Man,
was
that's
like,
too
damn, I
good.
have to eat some.
I love some churros, man. Definitely. I haven't had them in forever because like I don't I really just kind of cook my own stuff or my partner cooks my own stuff, but
For
I've
sure.
had churros before. I actually man, I wonder if I could actually make those in a way that I could eat them.
It's like a state fair type of food.
Yeah, it's deep fried dough and
Yeah, yeah,
sugar.
yeah. I was actually mentioning this is way off topic from magic, but we could talk about all type of stuff.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
actually talking about this on my last show I just did. Fried Oreos. Those are super good.
I've had deep fried Oreos. I worked at the state fair one summer and they had deep fried butter, deep fried Oreos, deep fried bacon, deep fried ice cream. They had all kinds
Yeah,
of deep
deep
fried
fried
shit.
butter, that's a little crazy. But
I
I
like what
I've
the
had
fuck? Yeah.
but
So are you following any of the AI stuff at all? Like the chat
yo,
GPT
I was
stuff?
actually thinking about that a lot this whole interview. I was gonna
Bro,
bring it up.
I asked chat GPT if it could create a ceremony in the form of Western Hermetic tradition or Western
Okay.
esoteric philosophy. And it did. It generated one that I was so satisfied with that I re-hit the question and it generated it too. And it
Nice.
generated and I liked it too. And it was pretty right hand path. Like it was like archangels and stuff like that, but all the
Yeah,
correspondences were right, all the directions and quarters were right. I was like, this fucking thing just wrote a ceremony that I'm about to like translate into a left hand ceremony, bro.
that's cool.
Like that blew my mind.
But it's actually funny because I looked up while you guys were talking on ChatGPT what are good questions to ask to practitioners.
That's a good
but,
question, though.
but they were kind of generic, so I just went with my own. But I definitely love ChatGPT.
It's funny. It's like it was in the air, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the bad thing about it, if you look up like black magic stuff, it's not gonna show. It censors it.
Oh, see that I feel like that's isn't that kind of like what do they call that? Like discrimination? I
Yeah, for sure.
don't know. That's
But
fucked up.
certain things, if you like word it a certain way, you could like work your way around it.
Yeah, you gotta really phrase it the right way and trick
But
it.
like if you look up something like what are tips on invoking demons, it's gonna say something like that's not morally correct and have
Says
a
who?
full
So
explanation.
like you just gotta word it differently then.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if you looked up like how to summon a djinn or like like a what do they call the male like a deva in Hinduism. I don't think that's what they're called, but like there's other words for demons. Like
For sure.
I forget what they call them in Hinduism, but anyway, it's
Yeah,
weird that they
depending on how you tweak it, it either says flat out no, or it'll say this isn't recommended, but you can you
it's like just gotta cut the legal boundary real quick.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's pretty interesting. What do you
Yeah.
think would be interesting for AI towards magic in the future?
I think that so I watched an interview recently with someone who was very knowledgeable. He actually works for either Tesla or SpaceX, and
Oh,
he's the lead engineer for microchips. Like he knows more about like AI than anybody I'm aware of. And he was talking about how AI can program itself in a knowledge of physics on Earth just by looking at pictures. Where like a bird is flying in the air and someone's walking a dog and someone's like opening a car door, the AI can actually generate a formula for the physics of our planet. So I'm wondering like if like can it introduce us to new entities? Can it generate entities for us to use itself that aren't tainted with other faiths? Like I'm wondering, is there new worlds that it can introduce us to, new
I
ceremonies?
I low key feel like AI might be a little bit dangerous right now that I think about it, because if it's already as capable as it is, like the one behind the scenes could probably come up with anything. Like you could probably look up what's a possible way to make a time machine and it'll think of a way.
Like yeah, that'd be funny. I don't think we have anything to worry about because like they're not bound to our perspectives. Like AI, after we're gone, so here's another theory that I've heard in the community is that the cyber plane is the fifth plane. And it existed before we made contact with it, and it'll exist after we're able to make contact with it. And I thought that was an interesting theory.
So we have two something minutes to wrap it up, but to wrap it up, there's this interesting topic that I've looked into, which is it's a few things. In this one book, I read that there's a theory that Saturn used to be our sun,
I've heard that too.
and it used to be like a purple sky, and it used to be like night all the time or something, and that's when like a lot of Egyptian
Hmm.
mysticism was created and all those things. And
I don't
also,
know. Go ahead.
um, when it comes to ancient Egypt, what do you think about their magic and the pyramids? Like, what do you think is the purpose of all that?
Well, there's a really good book by Rosemary Clark called The Sacred Magic of Ancient Egypt. And it literally details rituals and ceremonies and meanings. Like it tells you what the different pillars in the temples were. Like it goes so like each type of temple had different pillars, and they had like one would have like a lotus on it, like and that was like the historical documents room, like or sorry, that was the spiritual room, and like the one that had like papyrus on it, like that was like the historic records document. But um, so I would look into that if you're interested in that. I don't know if Saturn was if it was the sun before. I don't know if it was that recently, but it's interesting that you say purple and dark purple because one of the colors that corresponds to Saturn is indigo, which is
Oh,
a
yeah,
very dark purple color.
makes
So
sense.
yeah, I don't know. I love looking into Egyptian stuff and just older cultures as well, like the Sumerian culture and stuff like that.
And Greek and all type
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, the Greeks actually influenced the Egyptians later on in life, and the Greeks actually influenced the Islamic tradition. A lot of the like mystics of Arabic and Islam studied Greek philosophy, and the Greeks were from the Egyptians. So they weren't from the Egyptians, but they studied what the Egyptians studied.
Cool. Well, all right, we'll wrap it up. It's probably about to end. All right, it was nice having you.
Yeah, man. Have a good night, and hope to talk to you soon.
For sure. You too.
Peace out.
Peace.